now exposed. RSS VHP on the same page on the conversion debate say stop reservations for Hindus who convert.
क्रिकेट का आयोजन विश्व कप का भारत में भव्य भी होगा, ऐतिहासिक भी होगा.
After Pakistan pulls out blackmail, India makes stand clear, says World Cup in country no matter what.
जब वो करनाल आए थे, मैंने सिर्फ ये बात उनके आगे रखी कि जब वो आए थे एक स्वच्छता का संदेश उन्होंने दिया था और उनके कहने से हमारे शहर में चाहे वो नाले हैं चाहे नालियां हैं.
Out of parole, a rape convict gets political fanfare as more netas bow their heads before Ram Rahim. China comes to Pakistan rescue once again, blocks India's proposal on terror, backs Lashkar. A very good evening, viewers. You're watching This Is Exclusive on Republic TV, India's #1 news channel. Let's start off with the first story right now. It's a shocker coming in after the Karnal mayor, another BJP MLA, has taken the blessings of rapist Gurmeet Ram Rahim. Gurmeet Ram Rahim has now held a virtual satsang in Hisar. Now the MLA, his name is Ranbir Gangwa, and the wife of Hisar mayor took the blessings of Gurmeet Ram Rahim. Even as MLA has said that in gathering that they have arranged the virtual satsang of Gurmeet Ram Rahim. So this is the story we're tracking on This Is Exclusive. Remember that this MLA, Ranbir Gangwa, was seen attending Gurmeet Ram Rahim's virtual event where the Saffron Party leader has taken blessings. I repeat, has taken blessings from Ram Rahim, who is in fact also called as Love Charger. During the event, Ranbir Gangwa said that he would arrange a big venue with more capacity of people so that everyone should pay respect to Gurmeet Ram Rahim. And this is coming in as a rape and murder convict Ram Rahim is out on parole. Big story right now. This is exclusive. Remember, just a short while back, October 15th is the day, Gurmeet Ram Rahim had walked out of jail after he was granted 40-day parole by the Haryana government a day before. And before this, in June 2022, Ram Rahim was granted 30-day parole, during which he stayed at his ashram. But what you can see on your screen, viewers, is a shocker which is coming in. A BJP leader was seen attending the Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh's virtual event. All right, let's also listen in to many reactions which are coming in on this story. Let's hear them.
तो हमने वो वीडियो में देखा कि आपने गुरमीत राम रहीम को इनवाइट भी किया कि करनाल आइए, स्वच्छता अभियान चलाइए. तो आपको लगता है कि एक रेपिस्ट बाबा अभी भी सामाजिक है?
देखो, अब वो जो हैं उसके लिए न्यायपालिका ने जो उनके लिए आदेश किया हुआ है उसकी वो सज़ा भुगत रही है. और मैं ये समझती हूँ, जब वो करनाल आए थे, मैंने सिर्फ ये बात उनके आगे रखी कि जब वो आए थे एक स्वच्छता का संदेश उन्होंने दिया था और उनके कहने से हमारे शहर में चाहे वो नाले हैं चाहे नालियां हैं, स्वच्छता के लिए मैं ये नहीं कहती कि आम लोग इस बात के लिए नाले नालियों को साफ करें, बल्कि अपनी स्वच्छता के प्रति
All right, viewers, some big news coming in, international news coming in. UK PM Liz Truss has resigned. I repeat, UK PM Liz Truss has put in her papers. She has resigned just shortly after she took over as a Prime Minister. This is a very big story right now that we're getting for you right now. In fact, a lot of criticism had come in for her in the past few weeks. And a short while back, we also had told you that Britain's Interior Minister had also resigned after she had to go after she had breached government rules. So in fact, the Interior Minister resigned a few days ago. And now we can tell you right now, the UK PM has also announced her resignation coming in. This is coming just after she has taken over as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. It's in fact extremely fresh development that we're reporting for you right now. Global development coming in at this point of time, viewers, where the UK PM Liz Truss has put in her papers. She has resigned. In fact, there were a lot of calls for her resignation were coming in for the past few weeks. And what we can tell you so far is that she has right now put in her papers. She has resigned. More MPs, many MPs were calling for the resignation of Liz Truss, who has been in office for just 6 weeks. Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, is joining me. Abhishek, a lot of calls were, there for her to put in her papers. People were, in fact, telling her to put in her papers. And right now we are hearing that she has resigned.
Well, yes, that's a big breaking development, Shivangi, and this comes just less than 24 hours of her Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, resigning. In fact, the crisis started panning out immediately after she came to power on the issue of a botched economic plan, and because of which her Chancellor of the Exchequer had to quit. That was just last week, and now with a sort of a shouting match panning out in the Parliament today. Remember, it's Wednesday, and that typically happens Prime Minister's Question Day in the British Parliament, and that's where it seems that some clash happened, a shouting match between Liz Truss and others in the cabinet happened, because of which I think she decided in a half to quit. Remember Kwarteng,
Abhishek, just stay on with us. Stay on with us. We need you to analyze what is happening there. But I just want the viewers to hear what Liz Truss has said after resigning. Her first response is coming.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Abhishek, if you can come back with us, Senior Executive Editor. She is saying very clearly that I failed to deliver on the mandate that I was elected on, and she's saying elections will be held very soon. And Abhishek, this is not also a surprise, because she was holding on to power by just a thread.
Well, Shivangi, so what we are getting to understand is that the crisis that was precipitated by the resignation of or sacking of Kwarteng last week, in fact, intensified further with Liz Truss sacking her Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. In fact, the resignation letter, which was forced on her, clearly showed that Braverman was very unhappy. In fact, she had attacked Truss for not honoring certain commitments she had made during the campaign, and she was furious that the manner in which she was asked to leave And today we are told that when the Prime Minister's question was happening and the debate was happening on the issue of fracking, many of the Conservative MPs from the Treasury benches also came out in open questioning the leadership of Liz Truss, effectively, compromising her moral authority over the cabinet, which perhaps forced her to resign.
Abhishek,
we saw
I would like you to stay on with us. Stay on with us for a second there. I'll just come back to you. I'm being joined by Burzine Wagmar. Mr. Wagmar, I hope I am saying your name correctly. This is a very, very big story. He's a visiting India fellow, Royal United Services Institute. Thank you for joining us here. Do you think this is a surprise coming in with her resigning? Because she was in fact being criticized for the financial turmoil and a political crisis that was being seen just after she became the Prime Minister.
Well, first things first, Shivangi, I can say is this. It was, in a way, writing on the wall for the last few days, and particularly in the last 24 hours after the Home Secretary tendered her resignation. So she will still be Prime Minister until a leadership election takes place next week. That is what she has given the 1922 committee of the Conservative Party, Sir Graham Brady, to understand. And so a leadership election will take place. There is no question of general elections just yet. You see, and the problem is this. The mandate that she wanted to deliver after meeting Her Majesty, late Majesty the Queen, was to push through an agenda for growth, and that has been stymied by all sorts of elements, and also particularly those who were non-Brexiteers within the Conservative Party. For example, Jeremy Hunt, whose inclusion was just recent, as it were. And at the end of the day, this has to be noted too, Shivangi, although there are voices calling for a snap general election, Labour does not have a policy in place, strictly speaking, despite having had their annual conference just some time back. Labour has no policy on the energy crisis, on the energy package that Prime Minister Truss wanted to deliver, and a slew of other issues, including, for example, the deal that was underway with Kenny Badenoch, the Indo-UK trade deal, or other deals as such. So Labour has no agenda, no concrete policies under Sir Keir Starmer should they call for a snap election today or tomorrow. That must be made sure. They are not a government waiting in the wing with concrete agenda and ideas.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm also being joined by Lord Popper, Chairman, Conservative Friends of India, with us. Thank you for joining us here. We also know that there was a lot of pressure after the Home Secretary resigned and a chaotic vote on fracking as well, which has been happening there. What do you think is next for UK's political future right now?
Aro.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Lord Poppert?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your first reaction coming in right now, because the big question is right now, which I'm asking you as well, and thank you for joining us here on Republic TV. What is next for UK's political future? What do you see happening next in the next few days?
Well, basically, as I said, Liz Truss will continue to be the Prime Minister until we have found a successor. And people like Rishi and others will throw their hat into the campaign to become leaders of the Conservative Party. Whoever becomes leader will become the Prime Minister. And earlier, your person quite rightly said Labour is not that well prepared for the election. There won't be an election, but there will be a new leader coming up, leading our country.
Right. Right. And could you also tell a little bit more about what do you think really made her resign? Because she's saying that it is she came at a time of great economic and international instability. Does that mean that there was no faith in her? Because a lot of criticism for her economic policies as well. So do you think it was very early for her to put in her papers? She was there for just around 6 weeks as the UK Prime Minister.
Well, she came very ambitious, with the Chancellor giving huge tax cuts, mainly to the rich people. Tax cut with borrowed money rather than earned money. And this is not conservative. We only give tax cuts when we have earned that extra money, but we won't borrow money to give tax cuts. So she badly failed and misjudged her agenda. And she hasn't got the support of the parliamentary colleagues now. She's realized that. And the best thing for us was to resign.
Right. And the entire issue was about her mini budget, the mini budget. And she has said she's apologized and admitted that she has made mistakes during her 6 weeks in office. But she said that she will be trying to change the course and has taken responsibility for the right decision. So what exactly was the problem with that mini budget which has led to her putting down her papers?
The mini budget was giving out tax cuts which wasn't there in the copper, basically. It was tax cuts were coming from borrowed money. And that is not what we want to do. We don't want to sort of, have a credit card, so borrow money and give out money to people to stand. So this is not conservative. And this is why her colleagues were not very happy with this huge tax cuts she'd given out. And some of them were reversed by the new Chancellor.
Right. All right. And before you go, just one last question. Lord Popat, Conservative Friends of India, thank you for joining us. But just one last question. Like you were saying that who do you think is going to take over from Liz Truss? Who are the candidates right now that we're looking at?
Well, we have got Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, who stood for leadership contest. We have Fanny Mordaunt, who came third. Suella is another person who came fourth. Rishi, who came second. So there were 4 or 5 candidates who can come forward. What the Conservative Party is looking for is very much Rishi's agenda, to reduce our debt, not to borrow money and give tax cuts. So we wait and see who will come as the leader of the party.
Right. Okay, thank you, Lord Popat, Chairman of the Conservative Friends of India, who is with us right now. In fact, viewers, it's a big breaking that we're getting for you right now. It's extremely important because Liz Truss has just resigned in around 45 days right now after taking over become the Prime Minister of the UK. It was an election where in fact, we were seeing a very, very close contest between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. Liz Truss became the Prime Minister of UK. She just a short while back had resigned, and this is what she has said. Let's listen in to that address of hers.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
All right, so there, Liz Truss saying I'll remain Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. So what we can expect next is that there will be a Conservative leadership election to be completed within the next week. So these two things are extremely important, viewers, right now. This is a look ahead right now, which we can tell you. There will be a Conservative leadership election which will be completed where her successor will be chosen. Big international update coming in. Extremely significant because this means that Liz Truss is the only PM with such a short serving history. Truss, the briefest serving PM in UK history. In a way, history has been made today Liz Truss has been in office for just 45 days. This is the shortest tenure by any UK Prime Minister. Now, remember, the second shortest serving PM was George Canning, who served for 119 days. That was the last time. And that was the year 1827, viewers, the year 1827. In 2022, now Liz Truss has become the shortest serving Prime Minister in just 45 days. And this is a big news we're breaking for you right now, viewers. Let's listen in. Let's listen in to Liz Truss speak and announce her resignation.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
That was UK Prime Minister Liz Truss announcing her shock resignation. Not that shock resignation, in fact, it was building up last few days, precipitated by the sacking first of her Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng, and then yesterday of her Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. Liz Truss now saying that she has offered to resign to the King till a replacement is found. He would continue on that note. A short break and we are right back.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
Heavy rain battered the IT hub of India, flooding several roads and destroying properties. In one such incident, the heavy downpour led to the collapse of a wall near Majestic that resulted in damaging several four-wheelers parked on the road. The giant dome of the Jakarta Islamic Center Grand collapsed after a major fire broke out during its renovation work. Now, no casualties have been reported yet. And China put a hold on a bid submitted by India and US at the United Nations to blacklist Pakistan-based militant Hafiz Salah Saeed in a second such move within 2 days. Now, Saeed is a key leader of the dreaded terrorist group and the son of the 2011 mastermind Hafiz Saeed.
Always wondered why capitalists want to make non-capitalist investments. It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the motivation of the Omidyar network? What is the motivation of George Soros? Why is the Omidyar network so interested in India?
Omidyar is into disrupting countries. He's built his footprint. He has got, he's put $500 million in 100+ ventures in India. And he's actually investing in changing Indian society while actually making money. Having this data in the hands of foreign algorithms should be considered a national security risk.
Will new tech change the game for news? India's biggest news media conclave.
On being confronted by Republic TV regarding her visit to Ram Rahim Satsang, Karnal Mayor Renu Bala Gupta said that she went there to support Rahim's kin to cleanliness.
वो करनाल आए थे, मैंने सिर्फ ये बात उनके आगे रखी कि जब वो आए थे एक स्वच्छता का संदेश उन्होंने दिया था और उनके कहने से हमारे शहर में चाहे वो नाले हैं चाहे नालियां हैं।
One thing you must know about America and Americans is that there is no free lunch. First thing you ask an American is, why are you giving me money, sir? What do you want out of me? And then to say, no, I just want India to become better. You're fooling yourself. So I think the government should step in now.
Government should step in. Certainly there should be data privacy laws, but China is also doing a lot of surveillance in India, and the apps that they have installed is far more dangerous. Some of the Chinese investments funnel through another country like Singapore or UAE. So the Indian government has not yet effectively stopped the Chinese intrusions into India.
Can Indian news be contained to the corners of Lutyens? India's biggest news media conclave.
The Delhi government put a ban on bursting of firecrackers. Now, the centre said that up to 6 months of custody will be imposed for those found violating the rules.
Always wondered why capitalists want to make non-capitalist investments. It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the motivation of the Omidyar network? What is the motivation of George Soros? Why is the Omidyar network so interested in India?
Omidyar is into disrupting countries. He's built his footprint. He has got, he's put $500 million in 100+ ventures in India. And he's actually investing in changing Indian society while actually making money. Having this data in the hands of foreign algorithms should be considered national security risk.
The biggest questions, the most invigorating conversations, the most crucial news conclave in India. Don't miss India's biggest movers and shakers at India's biggest news media conclave.
Heavy rain battered the IT hub of India, flooding several roads and destroying properties. In one such incident, the heavy downpour led to the collapse of a wall near Majestic that resulted in damaging several four-wheelers parked on the road. The giant dome of the Jakarta Islamic Center Grand collapsed after a major fire broke out during its renovation work. Now, no casualties have been reported yet.
Always wondered why capitalists want to make non-capitalist investments. It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the motivation of the Omidyar network? What is the motivation of George Soros? Why is the Omidyar network so interested in India?
Omidyar is into disrupting countries. He's built his footprint. He has got, he's put $500 million in 100+ ventures in India. And he's actually investing in changing Indian society while actually making money. Having this data in the hands of foreign algorithms should be considered national security risk.
Will new tech change the game for news? India's biggest news media conclave.
On being confronted by Republic TV regarding her visit to Ram Rahim Satsang, Karnal Mayor Renu Bala Gupta said that she went there to support Rahim's
Welcome back. The United Kingdom's Prime Minister Liz Truss has resigned following a tiff with her colleagues in the cabinet inside the parliament. That's what we are getting to here. In fact, it was building up. Remember, that spoof where her picture was kept along with a lettuce, and the joke was which one would go first. And now they're saying that it's the lettuce that has survived, not Liz Truss. In fact, the crisis began with the financial package that was announced by Truss along with her Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng. That was on September 23, which spooked the international markets. And the reason was a provision of $50 billion, or about 45 billion pounds worth of tax cuts, which were not accounted for. It was not clear from where the money would come. Liz Truss had replaced Boris Johnson just about 45 days back, possibly now becoming the shortest serving Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. She announced her resignation at 10 Downing Street just about 15 minutes back. And now it would be over to the Conservative Party to decide who takes over the baton from Liz Truss. Remember, she had beaten Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson's Chancellor of the Exchequer, in a close contest within the Conservative Party ranks, and become Prime Minister about a month and a half back. And now she has resigned. In fact, just yesterday, her Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, also quit, and what seemed like a sacking following a tiff. And in fact, in her resignation letter, the tiff got reflected with the kind of comments that she made on Liz Truss's leadership, subsequent to which she came out openly and blamed Truss for not keeping her promises that she had made during the campaign within the Conservative Party when she claimed leadership from Boris Johnson. And now Liz Truss, the shortest serving Prime Minister perhaps in the history of United Kingdom, has tendered her resignation, and she now awaits a decision from the Conservative Party. Remember, as a build-up to her campaign, it was Sunak who was leading insofar as the Conservative MPs are concerned, but in the larger Conservative Party vote bank, she managed to get ahead of Truss and become Prime Minister. Let's listen once again to the resignation that Truss announced at 10 Downing Street about half an hour back.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
All right, Himanshu joins us over the phone from London. In fact, Himanshu, we heard Liz Truss announce her resignation, in which 2 points clearly came out. She admitted to not being able to live up to the expectations of the Conservative Party leadership. And then she also said that within the next week, they should be able to decide next leader to whom she would pass on the baton. I mean, do you think that this would be as easy, that transition from now to whosoever picks up the Conservative Party leadership, or are we actually staring at a midterm poll in the United Kingdom?
So if you can recall, exactly a month before we gave live from the city centre point of London, when the election results came out between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, and you could see the Conservative Party, there was a sudden, change amongst. Earlier, there was a victory sign for Rishi Sunak in the first two voting, but during the last phase of voting, the Conservatives suddenly they changed their voting consider pattern and voted for Liz Truss. And they were quite confident about the fact that the situation under which the UK is going on, Liz Truss could definitely bring them back. But having said that, in a month's time, we have seen what is going inside the UK politics. First, the Chancellor had to resign, and just days after that, the Home Secretary had to resign. And till date, Abhishek, 15 of the Tory members, they were against Liz Truss, that they wanted her to resign because she was not able to, keep up with the promises, keep up with the mandate she was going on. So unfortunately, in a month's time, Liz Truss had to resign. And, Abhishek, this is not, it has happened for the very first time in the UK politics in 3 months of time, two prime ministers, they have resigned and the third one is going to be elected. So, of course, as answering your question, it is definitely not going to be an easy task for the next prime minister is going to be selected.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devanshu, I wanted to understand, and the viewers would want to understand, what's happening in the United Kingdom. Brexit, a very contested Brexit. There was a joke that Liz Truss could be the most, she was perhaps not wanting Brexit and still voted for Brexit. And then the tax cuts issue and the fact that the financial markets got spooked because there was no plan from where the $50 billion would come, which would facilitate those tax cuts. And then the tiff she had with Suella Braverman. And we are told that today she has had a very strong argument with her own ranks, with Chief Whip, for example, in the House of Commons. And the Conservative leadership perhaps was not very happy with the manner with which Liz Truss was, conducting herself. So, where do things go from here? The Brits really would want something better to come out of this leadership crisis, so to say, that the Conservative Party is facing.
Abhishek, before answering your question, I want to state this in one single sentence, that people sitting in India, when I was in India, we used to consider these major Western countries as global powers, United States, United Kingdom, but it is no longer the same. I have been here for a few years now, and I can tell you this is the worst phase that UK is going on, both, within their internal government, the financial crisis, the inflation rate is the highest as it could ever be in the history of Britain Empire. There was once, it was when the colonial rule was there, it was once said that the sun never sets in the British Empire. But it's just the opposite happening right now, Abhishek. And coming back to your question, when the arguments was going on between, the debate was going on between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, they both had agreed upon Brexit, that Brexit was the right decision taken by the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. But there was a tentative argument between the tax cut rates, whereas Rishi Sunak supported that I cannot be promising enough when it comes to tax rate. On the contrast, Liz Truss made tax promises which didn't make sense to Rishi Sunak. And it didn't even take 3 months. It took them the government less than a month to collapse. And this is the worst case scenario. What we can expect in the coming days, in a week's time, there can be another member can be, elected as the leading Prime Minister from the Conservative Party. Till then, Liz Truss is supposed to remain as a Prime Minister. But this is an absolute failure from the government's end. Abhishek.
Yeah, more like a failure of the Conservative Party leadership. I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. Those were the words of Liz Truss, the UK Prime Minister, while announcing her resignation outside 10 Downing Street. We're taking a short break on that note and right back with the same story.
Always wondered why capitalists want to make non-capitalist investments. It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the motivation of the Omidyar network? What is the motivation of George Soros? Why is the Omidyar network so interested in India?
Omidyar is into disrupting countries. He's built his footprint. He has got, he's put $500 million in 100+ ventures in India. And he's actually investing in changing Indian society while actually making money. Having this data in the hands of foreign algorithms should be considered a national security risk.
Will new tech change the game for news? India's biggest news media conclave.
On being confronted by Republic TV regarding her visit to Ram Rahim Satsang, Karnal Mayor Renu Bala Gupta said that she went there to support Rahim's kin to cleanliness.
जब वो करनाल आए थे, मैंने सिर्फ ये बात उनके आगे रखी कि जब वो आए थे एक स्वच्छता का संदेश उन्होंने दिया था और उनके कहने से हमारे शहर में चाहे वो नाले हैं चाहे नालियां हैं।
One thing you must know about America and Americans is that there is no free lunch. First thing you ask an American is, why are you giving me money, sir? What do you want out of me? And then to say, no, I just want India to become better. You're fooling yourself. So I think the government should step in now.
Government should step in. Certainly there should be data privacy laws, but China is also doing a lot of surveillance in India, and the apps that they have installed is far more dangerous. Some of the Chinese investments funnel through another country like Singapore or UAE. So the Indian government has not yet effectively stopped the Chinese intrusions into India.
Can Indian news be contained to the corners of Lutyens? India's biggest news media conclave.
Always wondered why capitalists want to make non-capitalist investments. It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the motivation of the Omidyar?